Good day, everyone. I am Metzley, and today I'll be sharing our report about ASEAN and our chosen member country, Indonesia. Let's start by talking about ASEAN member states. What is ASEAN? ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, is made up of 10 countries. These are the Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Now, what exactly is ASEAN? ASEAN is a regional organization that was founded on August 8, 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand. The founding members were Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. Now, let's move on to our chosen country, Indonesia. Indonesia is one of the most well-known countries in the Southeast Asia. The capital city is Jakarta, and the official language is Bahasa Indonesia. When it comes to its connection with ASEAN, ang Indonesia kay dako kaayo siyang parte sa grupo. Usa siya sa mga founding members sa ASEAN and has been actively involved since the organization was created. In fact, the ASEAN Secretariat, which manages and coordinates all ASEAN activities, is located in Jakarta, Indonesia. Over the years, Indonesia has also served as the chair of ASEAN several times, leading discussion and initiatives that strengthen the unity and cooperation among Southeast Asian countries. Now, I'll give the floor to my group mate who will continue with the topic.
So good day, Ms. Dan. I am now sharing Indonesia's key cultural values and workplace practices. First is Indonesians value collectivism and harmony. They believe that teamwork is more important than standing out. And for example is if a group project succeeds, everyone shares the credit instead of one person taking it all. They avoid arguing in public because keeping peace or rukun is really important. Second is their strong respect for hierarchy. They follow their leaders and use respectful titles like Papak for sir and Ibu for mom. For instance, if you're close with your boss and you still call them Papak Andi instead of just Andi, it shows politeness and respect. It is that Indonesians practice indirect communication. They usually won't say no right away because it might sound rude. For example, if you invite someone to dinner and they say maybe next time, that could actually mean no, but in a polite way. And fourth is religion and cultural diversity. Indonesia has many religions, but Islam is the most practiced, and religion influences daily work routines like in their prayer times, holiday, and even in their dress code. So respecting these beliefs helps keep a good working environment for Indonesian workers and for the Indonesian community as well. Fifth is the work-life balance. Indonesia's work-life balance is becoming more important, especially in big cities like Jakarta. Some companies now offer flexible work hours, but traditional working hours are still common. And lastly, negotiation and business dealings. Before doing business, Indonesians like to build good relationship first. They prefer a friendly and patient approach instead of rushing or being too aggressive. And that's all for the key cultural and workplace practices of Indonesia. I am now passing the floor to the next presenter. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So for my discussion, I will be talking about the common challenges faced by Filipino tourism professionals working in Indonesia. Since I don't personally know anyone working there, I based my insights on several of YouTube interviews and videos featuring Filipino professionals who share their experiences working in the tourism and hospitality in Indonesia. So one of the major challenges they encounter is language and communication barriers. So Bahasa Indonesia is one of the main language used in the tourism sector, and even though many Filipinos speak English, it's not always enough to communicate effectively with the locals and local co-workers and guests. So based on the IAOM Society 2023, language adaptability strong influence work performance and cross-cultural adjustment. So because of this, learning even basic Bahasa Indonesia is important for effective communication and better teamwork. So another challenge is competition and job security. So most tourism establishments in Indonesia prefer hiring local workers because they are more familiar with the culture and language. And it is also more efficient for employers. That makes it harder for foreign workers, including Filipinos, to secure stable positions. So a study from Universitas Agong 2023 also noted that foreign employment in Indonesia is closely regulated, which means that Filipino workers must prove their competence, adaptability, and professionalism to maintain their role. So next is they also face cultural adoptions. So Indonesia is predominantly Muslim country, which means Filipino workers must learn to respect and value local customs, traditions, and religious practices that may differ from what we have here in the Philippines. So they must observe proper dress codes, be mindful at prayer times, and halal food restrictions. So according to the studies in Ilumata 2023, many foreigners in Indonesia experience cultural shock when adjusting to these new social norms and communication styles. So lastly, another challenge is homesickness and emotional adjustment. So many Filipino workers abroad experiencing loneliness and emotional stress due to being away from their families and adjusting to a new lifestyle. And that would be all for my part. I am formally passing the floor to Ms. Prismal to discuss the next topic.
Next, we have the MRATP and how does the MRATP supports the mobility of our Filipino workers. But before we proceed to that topic, let us first know what is the Mutual Recognition Arrangement. So Mutual Recognition Arrangement, DI, is a policy instrument designed to facilitate the freer movement and employment of qualified personnel between ASEAN member states by reducing regulatory impediments or difficulties to labor. This leads us to the specific arrangement for our sectors, the MRATP, or what we called as the Mutual Recognition Arrangement for Tourism Professional. So it was signed by the ASEAN Tourism Ministers and Creative Economy, Dr. Mari Elka Pangestu. Its main purpose is to facilitate the mobility of our skilled tourism professionals by recognizing the skills and qualifications of workers across all ASEAN nations, fostering cooperation and capacity building. So these are the key components. At the regional and national levels, we have the TPCB, the ATPMC, the ATPRS, and the NPPB, and how does the roles of each component helps on the mobility of our Filipino workers. So first, we have the TPCB, or the Tourism Professional Certification Board. This body assesses a professional's qualifications and competencies against the common ASEAN standards. So for example, we have the TESDA, as the Philippine TPCB certifies a Filipino cabin crew, making their qualifications immediately recognized for a job application in one of the airlines in ASEAN member countries. Because the tourism professional is already certified as a skilled workers in TESDA. So that's why they are being recognized na for a job application in one of the ASEAN member countries. Next, we have the ATPRS, or the ASEAN Tourism Professional Registration System. This is a web page facility that serves as the official registration and job matching system for all certified tourism professionals in the region. So let us use Indonesian employer in an example. So a potential employer in Indonesia can use the ATPRS database to easily verify the certification details and skills of a qualified Filipino who is applying for a specific position. So for our next slide, we have the ATPMC and the NPPB. So the ATPMC, or the ASEAN Tourism Professional Monitoring Committee, led by the National Tourism Organization, or NTO, of each country. So in our region, we have the DOT, or the Department of Tourism. So this committee is responsible for overseeing the full implementation of the MRATP. So the ATPMC ensures that the recognition process is fair. So for example, a Filipino worker is facing regulatory difficulties in, let us say, in Indonesia. So there, the worker has a body monitoring to monitor the MRATP's applications. Lastly, we have the NTPB, or the National Professional Board. So this national level board ensures the governance, quality assurance, and monitors the standards that validate the data displayed in the ATPRS. So the NTPB in the Philippines works to promote the MRATP and connect certified Filipino workers, like, let's say, an adventure guide, an adventure guide barong, to potential employers across the region, including those in Indonesia. The MRATP really provides a clear pathway for our skilled Filipino workers, and this mechanism directly supports the mobility of workers, allowing them to seek opportunities and contribute their skills anywhere in the ASEAN community.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Metzley, and I'll be sharing some recommendation for Filipino workers on how to adapt effectively in a multicultural workplace, particularly in Indonesia. Working abroad can be both exciting and challenging. Indonesia, with its strong cultural values like collectivism, respect for hierarchy, and harmony, offers great opportunities, but it also requires understanding and sensitivity. So here are some practical tips to help Filipino professionals adjust and succeed. First, it's very helpful to learn and use basic Bahasa Indonesia language. Even simple words like Selamat pagi for good morning or Terima kasih for thank you. It shows effort and respect, and it helps build rapport with Indonesian colleagues. Second, we should respect local customs and religion practices. So, Indonesia is a Muslim majority country, so being mindful during prayer or fasting seasons like Ramadan is important. Dressing modesty and following local etiquette shows cultural awareness. Third, it is essential to value harmony and teamwork, known locally as rukun. Indonesian prefers a peaceful and cooperative work atmosphere. Avoid confrontation or raising your voice. Settle issues calmly and respectfully. Fourth, respect for hierarchy plays a big role in the workplace. Always dress superiors properly using bapak or ibu, and be patient when waiting for decisions, as they often come from higher management. Fifth, Filipino must learn to adapt to indirect communication styles. The Indonesians tend to avoid saying no directly to prevent conflict. So, when you hear phrases like maybe or we'll see, it could be mean no in a polite way. Be sensitive to tone and body language. 6. Build professional relationship with your colleagues. Indonesians value trust and friendship in business. Joining social gatherings or even simple coffee breaks helps strengthen professional bonds. Lastly, demonstrate strong commitment and work ethic. While there might be competition from local workers, Filipino can stand out through reliability, adaptability, and dedication, qualities we're well known for. In summary, adapting to Indonesia's multicultural is all about respect, patience, and cultural awareness by blending professionalism with empathy and humility. Filipino workers cannot only adjust smoothly but also thrive and earn the respect for their colleagues. Thank you, and that's all for my report.
So, in conclusion of our report, embracing Indonesia's culture of harmony, respect, and connection opens doors for Filipino tourism professionals to thrive abroad. Through the ASEAN MRATP, their skills gain recognition across borders, empowering them to compete globally. By communicating with empathy, respecting diversity, and working with integrity, Filipinos can make a lasting impact in Indonesia's multicultural workforce. Thank you.